تمام. طب هلا الكل عم يدخل، فبركي نعرفكم على بعض، يمكن لأنه لسه ما تعرفتوا. هلا عبادة بيكون أول شيء ابن عمي، وثانيا هو مشرف على الفند اللي حاطينه باسم الوالد الله يرحمه.
يا أهلين عبادة.
وعبادة إذا يعني هو طبيب جراحة قلب،
الكتروفيزيولوجي، كهرباء القلب.
الكتروفيزيولوجي، كهرباء القلب بكانزاس.
اوكي.
وهو نشأ بالسعودية بالرياض عندك.
والله كيف هيك ما صدف انه اجتمعنا ابدا.
وانا من مشجعين النصر الحقيقة يعني.
من مشجعين النصر. ومدام سلوى مقيمة على شو اسمه الفند تبع تمكين. يعني أغلب البنفيشريز بلبنان، وعملت كتير مشاريع بإنشاء مدارس بلبنان للاجئين وغيره.
الله يعطيك العافية ويقويكي والله.
الله يعافيك، الله يعافيك ويعطيكم العافية كلكم والله. يعني راما ما عم تقصر من 100 طرف ماسكة الخيوط كلها.
أيوة.
الحمد لله، الله يقوينا كلنا. وهي هلأ بلش عم يكتمل المجموعة، معنا كمان محمد طيب وأنس بكرو موجودين معنا من إربيل، وهن اثنين مشرفين على التكنولوجي. رشيد أباني أهلا وسهلا فيك، volunteer مع with Gail. I'm going to switch to English because I just saw you, Gail. So
it's okay. It's okay. It helps my Arabic, so please feel free.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll let everybody introduce themselves. I don't have to actually do that. So, Rashid, تفضل.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rashid Abani. I am helping VIP.fund and EdSeed with fundraising and grant scholarships, application, things like that.
Give us a little bit about your background for the benefit of the rest of the team. What have you studied? Where have you worked?
I studied economics at the University of Virginia. I worked for the past 4 years at Oracle, and then I moved down to Oracle NetSuite. Initially in sales, and then I moved into consulting. So, yeah.
And now going for your master's, right?
Yeah, I'm applying for my MBA programs.
Fantastic. أهلا وسهلا. بشار, the screen is frozen. تفضل.
يعطيكم العافية جميعا. أنا بشار العلاوي، طالب طلاب مؤسسة أدسيد ومتطوع مؤسسة VIP.fund. أنا كمان من طلاب صندوق عبد اللطيف الشققي. بدرس ذكاء اصطناعي بجامعة الزرقاء، وحاليا أنا مقيم بالأردن. شكرا.
أهلا وسهلا. هزار، سمعتينا هزار؟ Can you hear us?
سمعتكم. هاي أنا هزار جبر. sorry I'm out in a soccer game مع أولادي، وأنا جدا آسفة إنه بالتسقيع عندي إذا الصوت عالي. What would you like me to say, Rama? Nice to meet you all.
Yeah.
I manage Faris Eats Fund. Our son, he has a disability, and our fund is focused on people affected by disability, in either them or supporting a family that's affected by disability. And that's it about me.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining.
شكرا.
So I think both Rasha, غنية عن المعرفة. I feel like everybody knows you, but you're welcome to tell us about yourself.
You know what? I was about to tell you, like the New York cartoon joke about, hello, I need no introduction, who are you? Not exactly that. Not exactly that. But you know me, so you don't need me to introduce myself. I only in this capacity. I also manage Ammar Shami's fund, and I coordinate some activities among fund managers in addition to other tasks that I'm in charge of at VIP EdSeed. And welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to see you all.
Nice to see you, Rasha.
Thank you, Gail.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gail Vignola. I know some of you. I'm English professor at a university here in the US, and I help the VIP Fund with grant writing and other English language. My postgraduate degrees in applied linguistics, I've worked with international students for years. So I help with grant writing and some copy editing and things too for the students to kind of bridge between their English and, you know, just sort of helping in that area. So nice to meet you.
Thank you. And Hiba?
Hi, hello everyone. So I'm Heba Dahshi. I recently joined the VIP Fund. I mainly focus on overseeing the organizational processes, and that's it.
There's a lot more. So you were a student with us.
Okay, I was
ready to
also a
study.
student at SEED. I had my campaign, and I made it to reach the goal it was for. And I recently graduated from urban design, graduate studies from AUB here in Lebanon. And I had my bachelor degree in landscape architecture.
And we're hoping that you'll work in that degree. In the meantime, Hiba's helping us pull together the operations. And you'll see from the presentation, she's already exercising some of her design skills with us. But we're hoping that she can get a job in the field of study that she's eager to pursue. وهبة من عين الحلوة, right? One of the older Palestinian refugee camps in Lebanon. I think we've introduced everyone. Did I miss anybody? Like we had said at the beginning of the year, we're going to try and have these quarterly calls for the fund managers. And the purpose is both to give you an update of where we are, but also hear from you on how we can improve things. So I'm going to run through a quick update so that I don't take up too much of your time, but please feel free to stop and ask verifying questions. And then we'll have a conversation around what what we can help with and how we can improve our support for you. Does that sound reasonable? Okay, no objections there. So we'll start. So first, thank you for making the time with us. As I mentioned, we're just going to go a quick overview because some of you are new to the call of the vision, who and how we serve. And there's a few updates from the last time that the rest of you have been on the call, the team, and then how you can support our mission, and then your feedback. So we've talked about this before. We provide education and work opportunities for youth impacted by conflict. The areas are education, work opportunities, technology enablement, and then virtual community building. We've had a little bit of change in terms of who we're serving by degrees. So 35% of our students are in medicine and medical related fields, 22% in engineering and architecture, 14% in literature, 6.4% in media and design, 7.2% in business, and then 14% technology and science. And I think we'll continue to refine the way we report on this as we group and get more information about the students. As far as, again, more detail, who we're serving, among the females, the number actually went down from 50% to 42%. So we have a little less females than we did the last quarter. But I'm encouraged by looking at their campaigns and seeing the diversity in terms of where they're studying, how they're going more to higher degrees, like this young lady who's finished her dentistry and is now doing a graduate degree in Germany. Rasha, you're better at talking to, for example, Nuha. If you can give us a little bit about her background,
Okay.
that would be great.
So I would start. Susan Abunjeli was a dentist from Palestine, was a dentist, and now she's studying epidemiology. the perfect thing about her. Okay, I'm not going to jump because that might come later on. So Nuha Chak is a Circassian in Syria, and she also got a scholarship for to study in Germany, but she needs to cover her expenses, and she's in IT and works on developing an AI that helps with the diagnosis of psychological disorders. Reem Hamad is a rising senior at American University Madaba. She's in architecture, and she's one of 3 other members of our community who will be focusing on green architecture. So she has 2 more years to go, and recently she's been a candidate for one of our recent funds. I think Rama will speak about that later. And Yusra Abu Qwaiq is one of those strange situations where she's already graduated, but she owes the university. Her degree was in accounting. She's an amazing young lady, and she's now working on developing a platform for remote accounting and trying to increase the number of females in this profession. So that's a quick run.
Thank you so much. Among the gentlemen who make up 57% of the students that are fundraising through EdSeed, or are engaged with other VIP fund activities, the focus has been more and more on sciences related to artificial intelligence, machine learning. And so here's a sample of the students that are in AI or science. A little bit about Rami, who I think he studied one thing. I forgot what he studied, Resha, but he has a science YouTube channel.
Yes, Rami is interested in space, and he would have loved to get a degree in space sciences. He has a platform which was the first Arab space dedicated platform to which he invites people, and he have about 40,000 followers. Rami is from Suwaida, Syria. He was in Lebanon and recently got a scholarship with, I can't remember if it's not King's College, another university in Glasgow, I guess, in England. And so he will be pursuing a master's in digital marketing, but that will dovetail with his digital marketing interests and hopefully into the space matters. Yeah, that's about Rami. Badia is from Deir ez-Zor, so this is the first demographic we get from that part of the country. Currently in France, pursuing a degree also in machine learning and AI with psychology applications, because both his parents are psychiatrists and worked with refugees in Turkey. Ahmed is a Palestinian, a Jordanian of Palestinian descent in Jordan, who got an invention going, which was a bracelet that will track diabetics. Great activities. Actually, it was much more than the devices we see in the States these days, and won the first prize at the Arab Invention Academy in Qatar in 2020. And the Bashar, who he's also started IT and now drifting with the trend to become an AI specialist at Zarqa University.
Thanks, Basha. So in terms of who we serve, again, always focused on supporting those in need, whether it is special needs or special circumstances that are a little bit dire. And in this case, Resha has been an advocate for either single women or single moms or mothers that have special circumstances. So here we're seeing that she has supported and got the young ladies. إذا بدك كمان أنت تحكي عنهم, please تفضلي.
The interesting thing about Susan Abunjele from Gaza is that her father died and she taught all of her 3 brothers full education. So she covered all their expenses. Now, as a master's degree in epidemiology, she needs support to cover herself because by that time she ran out of money. Inas Luqsour, I love this woman. She was forced into an early marriage at age 17 and went back, got her tawjihi science track, passed it after 2 kids, and now she's studying medical labs at Zarqa University. Hiba Al-Ghnaim had herself congenital heart disease. She lived in Yarmouk and she was pulled from under the rubble. in Damascus, Syria, and finally she just made it to Jordan. She already is about to graduate with a BSc in math, and now she graduated in BSc, and now she's about to graduate from her master's and heading to Sweden for her PhD. Maher Fattouh is an amazing young man. Also, became visually impaired because of the war. He was a student of the VIP.fund, and now that he finished not only a degree in education or about to graduate, but he will now be teaching the visually impaired, and he already started on this track even before he graduates. Bilal Al-Farra is an amazing kid also, 3 undergraduate degrees, IT, industrial mechanics, and about to graduate from mechatronics. And he just won the JICA scholarship in mechatronics. He will be developing, his master's would be in BCI, the brain computer interface, that would help a prosthetic bionic lump communicate with the brain, and therefore it will receive orders, so it will act more like a natural, one of our natural arms. He designed one with the help of a 3D printer that he got as a gift, and he just developed it himself using his own arm as an experiment.
Thank you, Rasha. So the other thing is, in terms of skill sets and support, we're offering fellowships. Fellowships are for different reasons, some of them to enable with career coaching, others to get more exposure to the tech sector, and others just simply to offer networking opportunities. I've added here Omar Musli, who's one of our students in Georgetown. He's attaining his law degree and doing phenomenally well. Muaz is in Turkey, and he recently, he had joined us and was receiving funds and career coaching, had a technology degree from MIT React Hub, and now he's enrolled in a social enterprise program to develop his tech application that has a social impact. Bashar is featured on and on again because he takes a special role in a lot of what we do because of how much time he puts in. وبعدين طارق لايقة إذا بدك تحكي عنه رشا. You're muted.
So Tariq is a student in Syria. He got a master's degree offer from King's College. He's a dentist by training, but now he's going into global health and social justice master's degree in England. And just wish him the best. That's more or less what I know about him.
Thank you. Tamam. So a theme that we've talked about last time and we continue to talk about is value-driven, and always aligning the students' consciousness and activities and work with our values, whether they are care and in building the community, exercising creativity. We're always encouraging them to be curious, and then helping them nurture the commitment and accountability factors, something that is natural to some of the students, but requires a little bit more support with others. The approach has been and will continue to be engage them online through activities. And these are just high-level statistics on where we've gotten with the help of the students. The 175 blogs are, a lot of them student-driven. We've crowdfunded. I deliberately put the statistics here. We had 960 students register for campaigns, 497 initiated campaigns, 77 went through to the fulfillment stage, and then we've got 9 seed funds that are active in support of all of these campaigns. And then work opportunities, we've grown, and here specifically I'll talk more about the AI ML projects and how the students are taking part in them. Technology is a core theme and will grow more and more in what we do. We partnered with Explain, the company that I lead on the private side. And with Explain, we had 3 quality control projects that our students participated in. 7 students have worked in that, and we hope to grow that. And they've generated $5,948 in income, which I think is fantastic for 6 months. And I hope that they can double and triple that. And so what that means is students who were completely reliant on donations are now generating their own income and putting it into their campaigns. So these are the programs that existed, and you've seen them before. They're just growing in terms of the numbers. For example, Tech Talks, we've had 11 sessions so far with 216 participants that have attended. And the same, as you can see with webinars, we've increased to 47 webinars, 688 attendees, and so on and so forth. We have added a digital marketing course led by Cosmic Centaurs, one of the funds, and we're very excited about that. Hiba, who's attending one of the courses, can speak to you about that, in addition to the 2 other programs, Duara and the Tech Buddies program. And then we've had an additional fund by the Jenny Leary Wallen Fund. Rasha, do you want to give us a little bit about it?
Exactly. So the actual manager of this fund is a friend of mine who had a PhD in education from Sweden. She did her anthropology research in Syria herself, married to a Syrian, and a cousin of hers recently lost his wife. And while she was planning first to donate the funds for humanitarian relief, a friend of mine who's the director of the Center for Refugees in Oxford, told her about us, and the husband decided to start the fund with us. The nice thing about it is that I thought that he wanted to donate $3,600, and we got a check for $36,000. So I don't know. I mean, it was just something like I felt it was the gift of the year for me. They're already sponsoring 3 of our students: Hiba Al-Ghanem, Reem Al-Hamad, and I guess there is a third in the making, Aida Karad. She's waiting for her campaign. I mean, she's working on her campaign, and many others to come, hopefully, through the same mechanism.
Thank you.
I mean, the nice thing about it is that this is the first non-Arab fund. And and that was thanks to Rama's insights. This is a fund that is sponsored by someone who's an American citizen or Swedish origin. And he's so, I'm glad that they saw merit in what we're doing, and they felt that despite, everything, we're kind of worthy of their support. So, I'm talking about the output, that we work according to our volunteers.
So maybe just a little correction. This is maybe the second non-Arab fund, because Project Turquoise are...
Yes, you're right, sorry.
Yeah. So with volunteers, we're getting more and more volunteers, which is wonderful. And now we're trying to focus more on how do we activate volunteers in separate programs. So you'll be seeing a little bit more about that. And then we've increased our partnerships by 3 since the last time that we've spoken. And through our partners, we're able to offer more funding directed to the universities, the educational partners, and then online programming. So here's the donations. So far, we've increased the private donors to 603. We have 165,000 in-kind donations. And then these are the statistics of the online donations and the offline donations. And I think in addition to this, we have شو statistics Anas تبع recurring donations? I forgot to put
yeah, 1,700 I guess, and 1,600, and 17 monthly donation.
Right. So the monthly donations are critical, and I should have remembered to put them here. So 17 monthly donations, that means 17 people have signed up to give recurring donations. And that's a great value add for us. And we want to increase that number as a next step. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. And is the 1,700 monthly or?
Yeah, monthly.
So every month now we're getting that secure 1,700, which is fantastic. Yeah. And it'll cover a lot of activities. So these are our board members and advisors, and we are seeking 2 board members. I'd love your help in them. We have the descriptions of the qualifications we want. And advisors is more of a loosely affiliated position where they recommend us to the media. They help us with programs. This past year, Muna Shahab, who is a mountaineer who climbed Mount Everest, she's Saudi national. She climbed a mountain in Alaska and raised over $6,000, I think, for one of our students. So we love our advisors and would love to grow their network. Looking ahead, we want to grow our media and technology partnerships to grow AI opportunities and other areas in tech. But definitely in AI is a big push from my side to get as many students both interested in studying it as well as joining the work opportunities. And Anas, who's with us now as a volunteer, is full-time working in an AI company, well, the same AI company that we both work in. And he's one of the backbone developers of the company. We're very thrilled. And he already recruited another Syrian national into the business, as well as helps oversee the project that the students are working on. So I'd love to be able to really next year say we have 1,000 Arab students that have joined in this area. It would be fantastic for them. Where you can help us with your support. The holiday campaign is coming up. Our goal is to raise $100,000 between now and January 1st. Our goal is also to secure 2 US media features. That means if you have any contacts with the media and we can pitch stories, we would love to be able to do that in support of the media campaign, the holiday campaign. And then last but not least, our goal is to grow the 17 recurring donations to 30 recurring donations within this holiday campaign season. So simple asks from people to say, look, $10 a month is all you need to do as a baseline, but commit a $10 a month for the whole year. That would be fantastic. We have some recurring donations that are as little as $10 a month and as much as $600 and everything in between. So we would love to see that number grow. And then the general ask stays as usual to please share our campaigns on social media to get more people to see them. Please volunteer with admin support. I know Hazar has volunteered. I need to take you up on that. Help mentor our students. Some of you already do it. Host webinars or invite people from your community. Just recommend them. Say, this is a young Arab person or an older experienced Arab person who can give a webinar about anything from poetry to IT to, we've had a very broad range of presentations, offer internship opportunities, offer engagement in the media, and then donate. And this is the end of our brief from our side. I'd love to dedicate the next 30 minutes to hear from you, whether you have questions or if you want to have any comments or support. I'd love to hear it.
May I just add one very small thing, Rama? Is that one of our recurring donations is actually from a student, and I feel that this is meaningful.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Hazar, Muhammad, Ubada, Salwa, if you have any questions, or anybody else for that matter, we're here to answer you. Again, I always say it's either very clear or like nothing is clear at all, and you don't want to start.
No, it's very clear. It's Hazar. Hi, guys.
Hello.
No, it is very clear. I do struggle with my fund to know. So my fund is more personally funded, and I do struggle with the concept of how do I wonder if other people have experience. How do I have people commit to the monthly donation, or should we wait and do one time when it's time to pay off for college tuition, or so I just wonder how other people do it. Rasha and Rama, you know how I run my fund, and basically it's mostly personally funded. But how do I get people to donate monthly, and do they donate monthly to your fund, the main fund, or to Faris Eats fund? It's just kind of it's a little confusing to me. I would like some mentoring on that. And yes, I am happy to mentor students, and yes, do take me up on it.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I'll offer as far as where they put the money, it can go anywhere. It can go into the general pool, or it can go specifically to the Faris Eid fund. Both options are wonderful and acceptable. As far as how you ask people, the easiest ask is, for me, I always tell the younger people that I've asked, this is a Starbucks coffee per month. So it's as little as that. You put it, this is tax deductible for you, and it's going towards helping a peer or a fellow student so I don't know if it's how you ask that you're struggling with, or how do you ask?
Rama, it's not necessarily how I ask. It's like, do I wait until I have a goal? Like right now, I don't know what's the goal for next year. I don't know how many kids we're gonna support. I don't know how much their tuition. Some are cheaper, some more. Say I need $10,000, and it's usually due by, I don't know, July or whatever. Then how do other people do it? Do you then do one big fundraiser and try to fill that up, or do you have people, or your goal is just to have people fund monthly, and then when it's time, you report back, say, hey, by the way, we supported. I'm just curious if people do it monthly or one-time project kind of deal.
So as a fund manager, people might donate because they trust you. And so that's how I translate it to, look, if you help and put the money in the Faris Eid fund, then I will be looking for students and allocating it. And I'm personally interviewing the students, but this will help me be able to support more students in the coming year. And so the more secure, regular payment you're getting, the more you know how much you can afford to go out and invite new students for yourself. That would be the way I would recommend positioning it.
That's a good point. Because we can now know how many students we're going to take based on the money that we have in the fund. Makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? No? We can adjourn the meeting. Is a heck. It's light and sweet.
I'll say, I always forget to invite people who are interested to this meeting. This is the second time I was like, oh, I should have invited them to this meeting, because you put together such a wonderful deck, and the voices involved, Auntie Rasha, Rama, the students. And I wonder, is there like a bigger forum coming up? Once there was a bigger forum, it's just a reminder to myself to invite a couple of folks. Some of them are funders already, like they're funding but not as involved. Then others might be interested.
So I think a task for us is, before we have the next one, which we had said we would do in about a month's time, I think, Rasha, or a couple of weeks, maybe the ask, when we invite people, not just send them the invitation link, but actually send an email and make recommendations of, please invite others, or, and here are the profile of people who might be interested, or here's what we're presenting. That would be good. Thank you, Mohammed.
Maybe I have a question for fund managers, if you don't mind. If you would like a mechanism whereby, because of the knowledge I have, whether me or volunteers who are helping me with the onboarding, if we can recommend students to you when your fund has the financial ability to do that. I've done that informally with a couple of you. I reached out to both Selwa and Hazar, who both not necessarily have a direct interest within the fund's criteria to fund a student, but I felt that a student needed a push. So we tried, and they both kindly consented and gave them. So do you want this to be just the email? I kind of did that with one of the funds, but I just wanted to see if this is something you like, you dislike, so I don't do it. I would like to get guidance on this.
Like that a lot. I mean, I like it. I like to be asked. I know that you and Rama like the fund to have, you know, a mission and a vision and more focused effort, and I love that. But I also feel like if my fund has $1,900 sitting in it and I don't have a student right now, you know, like ask me. I don't think there's any harm in asking, and I feel like it still stays in the mission. One idea that dawned on me earlier when Rama was sharing about the students and how, you know, I mean, when Rasha, you said about every kid that this one is like unique and this child, you know, the student is wonderful and, you know, extra, you know, ordinary. I think that there are two things, like the students that I fund in my fund are, you know, I know Rasha, you've helped them like spell their names, right? Or like we had to help them to say, okay, the email body needs to be in the email and not all in the, you know, the subject matter, you know, the email all came in the subject. So I feel like we should also be supporting students that are like, they don't have the opportunities that are unique. You know, I sent you Ribal the other day, extraordinary student, right?
Amazing.
But I also,
amazing.
Yes, I always think like those amazing students, we definitely need to support, but also the student doesn't know how to spell or doesn't know to speak English. We also want to remember to also, you know, I remind myself that because I say, I want to support more Ribals. I want to support people who are like going to change the world. But then what do you do with the kid who never had access to email? Like, I also want to do that. So I love that we have students of all needs and not just the ones with the, you know, IT special, you know, the regular engineer who we're trying to teach how to write an email. You know what I mean? So I like that. This is what I think is special about Seed is we're doing kids, you know, students of all needs. And I love that. That's very special for me.
And just from the onboarding side, I just was telling Rama to her delight the other day that all of a sudden I kind of saw a quantum leap in the quality of students we're getting. So we're getting more Rebals than Abdul Jabbars. I mean, so they are, and not that we will let the others fall through the cracks, but it's just that now we have people. I mean, Rebal, when I just opened his portfolio, I actually sent it to Hiba, but we wanted to keep him as a surprise for your next fund meeting, so that we can show you exactly who we have these days. And they're nice. We have another engineer who's working on green architecture and green civil engineering. So we do have an improvement, and it seems that the word is passing. So it's becoming a little bit more selective, and the majors are more selective also. So we're now in our orientations, we tell them we don't dislike English language, but if you're going to add computational linguistics to your degree, then that would probably make you more marketable, because this is what the market requires these days. So we do, and we think that now, because we have our basic core, we can move into that more selective approach, and we tell them we're going to give attention to the selectives, but we will still care for others. But that becomes now sort of a market response approach.
Rasha, the thing is, if you have a lot of, I mean, I know in my case, a lot of the students are not maybe the selected ones, but they need to be pushed to make a living later on, to have a future, even if they're not, at a certain level, but they have to make it in their life.
Agreed.
Exactly. That's more or less what I meant in my message, that this is part of the values of EdSeed. I mean, and Rama used to start the orientations by saying, we like the Steve Jobs and the Ben and Jerry's and the even the Bill Gates of the world, who just started in their garages or not necessarily their education was not part of what they became eventually in the future and their social impact. So we're doing that on the basis that we're not Jusur, we're not Asfari, we're not the Rida Saeed Foundation that would only cater to the very promising high SAT score students. So we will, I think, I mean, if Rama agrees with me that this has always been the mission, we will do everything. But until we have enough supportive core of volunteers who can help us with processing everybody, and we're moving in that direction with Hiba now. I mean, the fact that we have someone who still has access to universities and to students who are, we have bilingualism is a major issue. Our platform is in English. So please, that's a special call. If any one of you has knows people with special Arabic and English skills, we need editorial skills. One story, heartwarming story about Ribal Hazar yesterday. I sent his campaign, it's in its final stages, to Hiba Salim, our junior board member, who's in Oxford. And Hiba, and just after a small chat, they ended up being friends with two people who went to Oxford, and they kind of connected. So it's that story that, kind of so it shows me the importance of networking and how it's always giving us a positive result. So that's kind of, so if any one of you know people who are bilingual who can help me with onboarding, that would help us process more students. And I guess whether we like it or not, this is where we start, although we do have the e-learning. So also if you have kids in your community who attend schools and who have people who might be interested in our e-learning, in our webinars, if they're pure Americans, then probably they would get to learn something about the culture. If they have some Arabic, they probably would be learning more Arabic in our Arabic language webinars, or interested in the tech aspect. That will be all carried out in English, or that would be sometimes at least carried out in English. So that's also a call for everyone who probably has people to recruit as volunteers, as Rama said.
So I have a couple of questions. Number one, can you do monthly donations to Seed itself, or does it have to go through specific funds? So that's one question. The other question is, like, do you take volunteers? I mean, do we offer courses for Arabic-speaking people who do not know English very well, like Hiba was saying? And do we offer it through our website, Seed, or is it through another website?
So to answer your first question, yes, you can donate directly to EdSeed, and it doesn't have to go through a fund. So, and a lot of the donations we have are to just general donations, and we get them and then decide when they can say if they want them restricted to a student campaign, to a fund, or just general, and do whatever you want with it. And we have all three categories. And I'm happy to walk you through how to do that. The second question, maybe I didn't understand it. Well, we give Arabic webinars to the students. So a lot of our speakers are Arabic speaking and they deliver in Arabic. But Shukran, there was a second part of that question, maybe that I didn't get.
The second question, can we teach them English? Are we offering courses to teach English for Arabic only speaking students to achieve, to make them bilingual? Can we help them do that through the website?
Rasha, do you want to take that?
I mean, we don't. The short answer is that we don't. We always tell our students, it's part of the criteria of joining our platform is to have an intermediate English as a minimum. Most of them, particularly because they are in refugee communities or in host countries, have improved their English language. We sometimes, when we feel that, for example, a student is going to struggle reading his video script, we can do voiceovers. But we, as such, we don't tell them how to do it. However, for example, Rama spoke about our partners. Kairon is an educational institution in Jordan, and through Kairon, they can have access to countless courses free on Coursera in which they can learn English themselves. So we do not really take the task of teaching them English as such, but we can tell them that if you want to converse with us in English, we can do that. If you want a mentor that would talk to you about your subject matter, like I wanted mentors to speak to them about the rules of research. So the mentoring that we did this summer with Empower and Help, we had high school students who spoke to our college students and taught them things about how to write a blog, how to focus your thoughts in while you're doing a research paper, how to research. So we do these things, and I think this can be accommodated partially. And most of the students, because it's now kind of something that the mentor and the mentee can decide on for themselves, we would tell them, for example, let's do 10 minutes or do 10 minutes of conversations in English. Prepare for them. Make sure that you have a topic, and that part of your setting goals would be, I'd like to get from A to Z in my mentorship throughout my mentorship course with you. So we leave these to them, but we ourselves don't sponsor English language courses as such, because there are many available venues, and maybe Bashar can tell you about them. I mean, he participated in paper airplanes, I guess, and maybe Gail is more in a position to talk about this. So no, we leave it to the students, but that's the opportunity we open. And one of the things, Dr. Obada, that we felt is that more or less our students are not committed enough to committing mentors sometimes with them. So we have to go through the protocols and the orientations for what you do when you have someone who tells you, I'm a student from Oxford and I'm struggling to give you an hour of my time. So please be there, prepare what I told you to prepare. If you need to decline a meeting, let me know 24 hours in advance, because I know that. So we do have cultural struggles that we go through, and this we address during our orientation sessions, during our student assemblies. So, and that's why we always tell them that when you come to EdSeed and VIP, you're not coming to your regular scholarship foundation. You have people who are giving their hearts to your to this volunteering experience. So please respect it as you go and learn from it as much as you want. And Bashar, to me, is the perfect example of someone who had English at a much lower linguistic skill level when he's joined, and because of his effort, Bashar has a kashkul, has a notebook in which he writes every word he hears, and I always add to his vocabulary, add this, this is how you use it. He starts using English to write his emails, and if I find something that he needs to correct with my English that can sometimes take corrections, because I'm also not a native speaker as in the final analysis, but he does that. And we're trying to tell students that learning is a self-driven process. We can't always be chewing your mouth, you know, your li'me, and then you now it's the interpreter's black spot. So we can't be chewing the food for you. Try to chew it yourself and show us what you can do. This is part of our ethics. This is something I cover in orientations. Please get to where we are. Because in language learning, as my aunts and many others who were ESL teachers, we used to have a French teacher in Syria who says, in a broken Arabic, language learning is like trying to catch a train. Those who'd like to get on board will, and those who don't want to, even if the train was to stop for 10 more minutes on the platform, probably they won't. So we try to tell them that this is part of who we are, and please try to accommodate us halfway through.
All right, thank you, Rasha. I think we lost Arbada. Here he is again. All right, so does that answer your questions, Arbada?
It does, actually. It does. Finally, just to echo Muhammad's comment, how open are we to invite other people who might be interested in donating, or just like foreigners to say, hey, come to this fund manager meeting, hear what we have, because the presentation has been was great, really.
Just give me an audience anytime, anywhere. Very happy. Ana Rasha. Just so okay. Anytime you want to give us an audience, we're very happy to present to them. And whether it's this fund manager call, which has been pretty much a loose kind of update for everyone because we are reorienting. or if we have, we could set up monthly, open calls for anybody who wants to join and hear about the organization and just do what we're doing here. Yeah.
Dr. Ubada, you scared Drama because she said Russia is willing to talk. I mean, you're very, very lucky. I have the cold and I can't talk enough because I'm coughing most of the time.
صحيح.
Yeah. طيب, any other questions? سلوى, ما عندك?
راما أنا بس في عندي إذا بنقدر نعمل if we could just meet from time to time about how the financial reporting is done and how can we follow it as fund managers. Still not very, it's not easy for me to do it. So maybe we can do it on one-to-one one day if you have time, if you don't mind.
With pleasure. With pleasure. I'll follow up with you on that directly. وكمان بدنا to close out the memorandum of understanding كمان للfund. So I'll suggest a few days that work for you, and I'll
Okay, I'll write to you and when we decide on a meeting.
Sounds good. Any other questions, comments? I did want to introduce Hiba to Muhammad. Hiba, if you could just repeat what you studied and where, and Muhammad, maybe you can introduce yourself as well, because I think that you can benefit from that connection.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, like I recently joined the VIP fund in order to focus more on organizing the processes administrative wise. And I was also an EdSeat student. I had also a campaign in order to cover the rest of my tuition fees for my master's degree, which I recently finished in urban design and planning at AB here in Lebanon. And I had like my bachelor degree in landscape architecture. And as also Rama mentioned before, I'm looking forward to be engaged in my field. But meanwhile, I'm here with Rama and Rasha and Bashar, supporting, helping as much as I can. So yes.
Ahleen Hiba, it's nice to meet you. Sorry, maybe I missed your introduction in the beginning. I came late. But yeah, generally we're in the same field.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a designer, but like more like urban planning. But the landscape is interesting. So happy to have a conversation at some point. And I'm glad they're more than just computer engineers in the EdSeed network. I also have a very important question. Who is this Rashid Tabbani? Is he here just to look good, or was he going to contribute?
Well, I'm more here just to listen right now. And you got me thinking when you said, can we invite people to this meeting? And with this end of year campaign that I was trying to run, maybe we can have a specific meeting where we just, send emails to people and get people to commit to attend this meeting to learn as much as they can. It's a good idea.
Rashid joined us to volunteer in fundraising, and he's going to use his Qabbani charm to do that. So we're looking forward to it. I want to see how many he can reel in. Your grandfather and your father can demand an audience. So yalla, let's see how.
We'll see, yeah.
Can I tell you, Rashid, a joke about the Qabbani story? I mean, we have an interpreter who's from Syria, but he's not very well versed on the Syrian cultural scene. And somebody once was saying about your late uncle Nizar. So he said Nizar Qabbani, and he said, yes, I know Nizar Abbani. We said, no, he's not Abbani. He didn't tell me. He said Qabbani from Qabban. So probably you go with this story also.
Well, thank you all for joining us. It's always lovely to see that we're in good company. It definitely has come. I feel like now we're in the friends and family phase and expanding, alhamdulillah. So great to have you all with us. Thank you. And thanks for all your hard work and support and effort.
Thank you, Rama, for all the effort you put in, you and Rasha, really. It makes a lot of difference.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. meeting adjourned. يعطيكم العافية.
سلام
Thank you.
الله
سلام.
يخليكم.
Thank you.
مع السلامة.
Bye, everyone.
باي باي.